Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Guns Explained. I'm your host Cameron Porter. We are going to do a very special episode for you today. We are here at the Gun Vault in South Jordan, Utah. Yes, the Gun Vault in South Jordan, Utah. And what we're going to be doing, the first segment of this episode, we're going to be talking to new shooters out there, inexperienced shooters, and we're going to be walking them through what they can expect from their first trip to an indoor gun range. For the second segment, we're going to be talking to some more experienced shooters, and we're going to be explaining some of the features of an indoor gun range and how they work. And it is kind of cool if I say so myself. So, the Gun Vault was kind enough to let us use their facilities for this episode, so thank you to them, and let's head on inside. So when you first come into an indoor range, usually they'll have a retail front, so they'll have things for sale. What you want to do is you just walk up to the front counter and talk to the studly young man running the counter and say, "We would like to shoot at the indoor range, please."
Excellent, we can totally accommodate that. Do you have any experience shooting firearms before?
No.
All right. In that event, there's a couple of things that I recommend. One, and kind of the most simple option, if you know friends or family that have experience shooting firearms and that would like to teach you. Apart from that, if you'd like more kind of like individualized instruction, we do private instruction, one-on-one, or even several individuals just with an instructor, and we can get set up that way.
Okay, well for now, I'm by myself. Could we do the private instruction?
We can absolutely do that.
Fantastic.
Excellent, so first off, we do have you fill out a waiver when you come in.
Okay.
Well, if you fill out one of those, sign and date for me, and we'll get you all set up with the range. So I'm assuming you did not bring any firearms of your own to shoot today?
Correct.
Excellent. So we're going to do a rental for you.
Okay.
We will also get you some ammunition. Did you bring eye and ear protection with you today?
I did not.
All right, we can get you a rental of that as well, and then you probably need some targets.
Yes, we would also need targets. I was really unprepared this morning.
So I'll get you some eye and ear protection here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. If you want to pick out one of these targets for me?
Ooh.
If you want to grab that target, I'll bring the firearm. Let's head into this room straight across from us here.
Range entrance. Love it.
In here, we're going to make sure our eye and ear protection's on. Awesome.
Okay.
You never want to go actually out onto the range without that being on, because there very frequently are shooters actually engaged in shooting. It's going to be very loud and very uncomfortable, and we do require eye and ear protection.
Fair enough.
Excellent.
Good to know.
Let's go ahead and head right out through a couple sets of doors.
So here we are inside the range. As you can see, they've got the individual stalls here. You'll see these in most indoor ranges. You'll see stalls in this style. They'll vary on how much space they give you, but this is pretty standard for what you'll expect to see in a range. But this range does have some cool features as well as many other indoor ranges do. The first thing that I think is really cool is this pulley system for targets. So how does that work?
So the pulley system is on a track up inside of this rail, and it's run by a motor that's right up here. What that does is that allows the shooter to set their target up actually where they're standing and then push it out to a varied distance. We have lines marking at 7.5 and 10 yards, 50 feet, 20 yards, and then maxed out is 25 yards.
Wow, okay.
So that allows you to set it kind of where you want it and be able to test your skills at different distances, I guess. And also bring it back in so we don't have to call the range cold for everybody to go out and actually get their targets. Gotcha. So the range is essentially always hot while it's during normal business hours, and shooters can push their targets just in and out as they please.
Gotcha. Mind if I play with it for a second?
Absolutely.
So you just pull it this way to bring it back, push it that way to take it out. That makes sense. Kind of hard to tell whether it's at 10 yards. I think it's at 10 yards.
Looks good.
Close. Okay. So what are some other features about an indoor range that some people may not consider?
So one factor that you might not consider that you really don't encounter outdoors is ventilation is a big deal. While you're shooting firearms, you have that powder burning and turning into rapidly expanding gas. And so what we have is a ventilation system that's going to pull in air from our roof and recirculate it through ventilation ducts in the very back. That just keeps kind of pulling that rapidly expanding gas out, any unburnt powder that might be just kind of hanging out in the air and that kind of stuff, just so you're not actually inhaling it.
I see. That's cool. What's this funky looking big slope you've got back there?
So back there, that's our trap system. When you're shooting firearms indoors, you got to have somewhere for the projectile to actually go. So in that trap system back there, There are 2 panels that are sloping from the top and the bottom, and wherever you impact on those panels, it's going to direct it kind of into the crease back there to where you see that fold. There's a little bit of a gap. So it's going to direct your projectile into that gap after you shoot, and it'll send it into a hexagonal decelerator where it's going to spin and run out of energy and then drop into a lead collection system where we can repurpose that lead and dispose of it safely.
Hexagonal decelerator. That's awesome.
Word of the day.
Word of the day. Okay, so what are some features that may be specific to the gun vault?
So things that we consider really important. A, we already talked about good ventilation to make it a comfortable experience for the shooters. B, we try and keep our range really well lit. We've got light paneling out behind these steel ceiling panels that are up there.
Sure.
All of our lanes are ballistic rated between the actual individual shooting lanes. We also have our observation area directly behind the range where if you bring in friends or family members that just want to watch you shoot, there's ballistic rated glass right behind so they can be there in kind of a comfortable, sound-proofed, so to speak, area. You'll still hear noise, but it's not going to be as loud as a gunshot, absolutely.
Gotcha.
On our lane, or on our range, we have 15 lanes at 25 yards, as we mentioned, as the max. 10 of those are going to be kind of these standard width lanes that are really comfortable for a single shooter and a pistol. We also have 5 lanes that are kind of widened down at the end.
Oh.
So if you're like bench rest shooting a rifle, it's a little more comfortable there as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, that's super cool. This is some great stuff. Well, do you want to teach me how to shoot a handgun?
Let's do it.
All right. Here we go.
From there, we're going to make sure that everybody has eye and ear protection on
All right.
when we actually start firing. So those concepts that we just talked about.
Yeah, do you guys have ears for me?
We didn't grab ears for the cameraman.
Talk about this and I'll...
All right. Now that we've ensured we have our eye and ear protection on, we're going to go ahead and actually load the firearm. So we're going to go ahead and line this up and slowly squeeze that trigger. And to go ahead and impact on the target. Keep your firearm pointed down range. Go ahead and shoot again. Slowly squeeze your trigger to the target. And we've got one more. All right.
That actually did surprise me.
There you go.
All right, that was very educational for me. I hope it was educational for you. For new shooters, we'd very much encourage you to try shooting at an indoor gun range just to get a good experience for it. If you're interested in the private instruction and you're here in Utah, definitely come on down to the Gun Vault. They have great instructors that can help you out. And if you're not in Utah, come to the Gun Vault anyway. Make a vacation out of it. Utah's a beautiful place. We'd love to see you. Look us up while you're here. For experienced shooters, I hope you learned a little something new about how indoor ranges work. I know I did. And we'll catch you next week. Again, special thanks to the Gun Vault for letting us use their facilities this morning, and we will see you next Thursday.